Today's routine is all about plantar fasciitis. Whether you're currently experiencing pain or inflammation in the plantar fascia, you've experienced plantar fasciitis in the past, or you're simply trying to prevent plantar fasciitis because of an increase in stress on the body, then this will help you. Plantar fasciitis is an inflammation in the fascia that runs along the bottom of the foot, starting at about the ball of the foot here, kind of spreads out to each toe and then gets a little bit narrow through the middle of the foot and runs all the way down to the heel. A lot of times, if you are experiencing inflammation in the plantar fascia, you will feel the pain in the heel, especially first thing in the morning. Once you're getting out of bed, you'll get a sharp needle-like stabbing pain in the heel, and sometimes that pain can go up through the arch of the foot. We are going to open up the bottom of the foot and stretch all the way through the back part of that lower leg. And then we will also strengthen and activate those ranges of motion that we open. We're going to start with some hands-on manual work, and then we will get into the active stretching and then our active strengthening work. For today's session, we will need a ball. I'm using a baseball. You can use a lacrosse ball, tennis ball, spiky ball, a foot roller, whatever feels good for you to roll out on your foot. We'll also be using a yoga block or two, something like a bench or a chair to sit on. We'll be using a towel or a washcloth, and we'll be stretching against a wall or a squat rack, right? So you'll need something to put your body weight into or hold on to for support, like a stick, mobility stick. So let's get started. We're gonna start on the floor, and I like to do a lot of manual hand massage work for the feet to bring the sensation back to the bottom of the foot. We want the nerve endings in the bottom of the feet to be able to connect to the world around us. So if we are spending all day in shoes, our footwear is pretty constrictive, and we lose that sensation from the feet into the ground. So we're gonna wake up those nerve endings and really get some hands-on work to feel how your foot and ankle are moving. So with that said, let's start by crossing one ankle over the opposite leg, and you can do this in a chair as well. You can also prop yourself up on yoga blocks, or you don't even have to cross it over. You can just work with your foot on the ground here if it's difficult for you to pull that leg up towards your chest. All right, so we'll find a comfortable position where you can relax the foot and also grab onto it with both hands. So we're gonna start with some ankle movement. If our left knee is pointed out to the side and the left foot is across the body, closer to the right shoulder, we're going to be in some external rotation of that left hip, and that's gonna allow us to grab onto that foot. So from here, we're gonna turn the bottom of the foot up towards the ceiling. This is ankle inversion. So I'm trying to turn the ball of the foot, the mid part of my foot, and my heel up. So you can grab your foot wherever feels comfortable to really turn the entire foot up towards the ceiling here. We're just gonna hold that for a second, and then we're gonna reverse that. So now I'm gonna take the bottom of my foot and try to turn it down towards the floor. So I'm gonna really twist the ball of the foot here, get my hands in there and just kind of maneuver my foot as if it's clay, right? So we're really just manipulating that foot from the ankle here. And then let's go back up to inversion. You might feel a little bit of a stretch. You might just feel like a bit of a massage sensation in the bottom of the foot as you're grabbing onto that foot and heel. And then let's go back down to the floor. This is our ankle eversion. Once again, I am trying to turn that heel as well. And if you have a lot of pain there, you can just gently touch. And then let's go one more time, turning up towards the ceiling, trying to turn the ball of the foot, midfoot, and that heel up, and back down to the floor. Just getting some twisting in that ankle. So now, if you can, I want you to try to hold hands with your foot. So you're gonna try to fold each finger in between each toe. If you can't, if your toes are having a really hard time spreading out, you can wrap the hand on top of those toes, right? So whichever grip you have here, now we're gonna be moving the ankle in dorsi and plantar flexion. So you're gonna hold the ankle still while you turn and curl those toes and the foot towards you. That's our plantar flexion. You may feel a stretch here. You may get some cramping in the arch of the foot. And then we'll reverse it to dorsiflexion, trying to push those toes away from you, right? Turn this way, and then we're gonna do that again, going into plantar flexion. I'm trying to keep my knee still as well here as much as possible so that All of this work is happening from the ankle, and then reverse that into dorsiflexion, toes away from you. You can bend the toes here as well, right? It doesn't have to be a straight line with the foot. And then we'll go one more time. Make sure as you're doing this that you're not curling your toes up towards the ceiling. We want to try to keep that foot almost parallel to the floor, or at least in line with the shin. And extend. Good. So I want you to keep your hand holding the toes and keep that heel and ankle in place. And we're going to go around in circles with the ankle now. So we're going to take all 4 of those articulations we just manually found, and we're going to manually take that ankle through all 4 of them in a nice circular motion. We're going to do one more in this direction, and then we'll reverse it. So if you started going the opposite way, that's okay. We're just going to reverse it. Go ahead the opposite direction, pulling those toes up and then down towards the floor. And really just trying to relax the foot and the ankle as you're doing this motion. This is all manual work, so there's no actual active work being done in the ankle. One more time. So then you can release the hand from the toes. And now we're gonna do some massage work for the bottom of the foot. So here's where we're really gonna get those nerve endings awake. You can turn the bottom of the foot up towards you, and we're just gonna kind of like take your thumbs and knead the ball of the foot, right? That's where the plantar fascia starts. Then we're gonna take those thumbs and knead the middle of the foot, especially focusing on this arch of the foot right below that big toe. Whether you have high arch, low arch, flat feet, doesn't matter. We wanna still massage that arch of the foot. Get the outside of the foot as well, this 5th metatarsal over here. And then you can work your way all the way down to the heel, just kind of kneading into that with the thumbs, using the pressure that's appropriate for you. If you have a lot of pain in the heel, go a little lighter with that. You could even take the back of the hand and massage it into the heel with a little circular motion, right? You can slide your thumbs and just keep that foot relaxed. You can keep going with that, or we can stretch the foot a little bit. You can take the toes and pull it back, and we can really dig into the arch of the foot here. And we can really dig into the heel. I like to kind of push my thumb and my forefinger down on the inside and the outside of that heel and kind of squeeze, especially as the heel comes into the arch of the foot here. Squeeze this area and then the back side as well, just kind of lengthening this part. We're just gonna do this for another 10 counts, whatever feels best for you. Again, just waking up the nerve endings in the bottom of the foot so that we increase the sensation of the foot. And then release. Now let's do all of that with the right leg. So we're gonna cross the right foot over in whatever seated position works best for you. And then we're going to start with that ankle inversion and eversion. So you're just going to turn the bottom of the foot up towards the ceiling, twisting the ball of the foot, the mid part of the foot, even that heel, right? So I'm also kind of pressing down in here. Sometimes the pain radiates from this corner of the heel. So I'm just kind of pressing up through there. And then let's turn that foot towards the floor. So now we're going to take the ball of the foot, turn it towards the floor, turning that heel towards the floor as well, lengthening that inside of the ankle. And then we'll do that 2 more times, turning up towards the ceiling and turning down towards the floor. And one more time, turning up towards the ceiling. Keep that foot and ankle nice and relaxed, and then turn it down towards the floor. So let's take that left hand and fold the fingers with the right hand, or you can just grab the toes with that left hand. I'm just gonna make those nice and snug. That spreading of the toes, that toe splay is gonna help to open the plantar fascia right where it starts at the ball of the foot, right? So we wanna spread out those toes as much as possible. So now we'll go with our plantar flexion, curling those toes towards you, but make sure we're not reaching the toes up into that ankle inversion. Keep them in line with the shin. And then we'll go with dorsiflexion, pushing away from you here. And let's do that 2 more times. Curling those toes in. And dorsiflexion, pushing away. One more time, that plantar flexion and that dorsiflexion. So right from that dorsiflexion, we can start to go into our circles. So we can make that circular motion. Now the toes are going to reach up and down, keeping that foot and ankle nice and relaxed as we grip that ball of the foot and take that foot in a nice smooth circle from the ankle joint. And then we're going to reverse it, going the opposite direction. Just manually moving that foot from the ankle. Last one, nice and slow, and release. So now we can release the fingers from the toes. We can turn that bottom of the foot up towards you again and start kneading those thumbs into the ball of the foot. Once again, we're trying to widen that ball of the foot, right? We're trying to spread out those tissues as much as possible, spread out those toes, and then we can start working our way down through the midfoot, the arch of the foot here, which is going to get super, super tight and inflamed, and even the outside of the foot, right? This is what is most in contact with the ground, so that is also going to be a target for our increasing sensation. Then we're going to go all the way to the heel. You can take the palm of your hand and kind of do these circular motions here. We can work into the heel a little bit more, sliding here from the back of the heel down, right? You can keep going with this progression, or we can take the toes and bend them back and really kind of dig into the arch of the foot here in that stretch. And work through the heel as well. About 10 more seconds of this manual massage. Once again, waking up those nerve endings in the feet so we can better connect to the world around us. All right, so we'll release that. Shake out those feet, and let's get into our rolling on the ball. You can do this in a seated position or standing. If you're standing, you just want to grab onto something for support, a wall or a stick. You can do it from a half kneeling position as well. You're going to start at the ball of your foot, and then you're going to slide the ball away from you as you open your toes. And then you're going to slide the ball towards you as you spread the toes and try to grip the ball, right? So we are rolling out the bottom of the foot, but we're not doing this super aggressively. We're kind of activating the tissues on the bottom of the foot as we open and then close those toes. Let's do one more time just like this, and we'll add a little something else to it. And curl back in. So now when you roll, you're going to roll out on the arch of the foot. So you're going to put the ball under the arch of the foot as you roll out, and then you're going to try to make a little oval. You're going to curl to the outside of the foot as you curl. And then again, as you go out, we're just creating a little oval. We're kind of rolling all the way on that heel. Curl the toes. We'll go one more time in this direction. You can stop right before the heel as well. And curl those toes in, and then let's reverse it. So now this time as you roll out, you're going to open the toes and you're going to roll out on the outside of the foot, and then you're going to roll in on the inside of the foot as you curl back in. Roll on the outside to push out and roll back in. And then one more time, rolling out away from you. Once again, waking up those tissues on the bottom of the foot and curl back in. So let's switch sides. Now, any of these movements, you can add reps, you can add time, you can add tension, anything that you need to these movements. You can do them multiple times throughout the day to really keep reinforcing the activation of these tissues on the bottom of the foot. But I'm just giving you a general overview as quickly as possible. So as we roll out, we're going to open the toes. As we roll in, we're going to spread the toes and grip the ball as it gets to the end of the ball of the foot. And then we'll do 2 more like that, rolling away and rolling back in. So if you're standing, you're able to put more tension and pressure on this, but it's important not to go too aggressively. We just want to stimulate those tissues on the bottom of the foot and roll back in. So now as we roll out, we're going to roll out on the outside of the foot, spreading out those toes. And as we roll in, we're going to roll on the inside of the foot. This is probably where you're going to feel the most tension and pain, on that arch of the foot or the heel. And roll back in on the arch of the foot, the inside of the foot, still opening and closing those toes, rolling out, and then rolling back in. Let's reverse that. So now as we roll out, we're going to spread those toes out on the arch of the foot, rolling back in on the outside of the foot, rolling out on the arch of the foot, rolling in on the outside of the foot, and one more time, rolling out and rolling, and rolling back in and rest. All right. So we've definitely got the bottom of the feet awake. We could put the ball to the side. We're going to get into some active stretching for the calves, the posterior side of the lower leg, and the bottom of the foot. So we're stretching out the bottom of the foot all the way through the tissues around the Achilles tendon into the calf muscle. So let's stand up and go towards your wall. So when we're setting this up, it's going to be just like a normal calf stretch, but I want you to make sure that the big toe is inside of the heel. What we don't want is the big toe to be in front of the heel or outside. Then when we stretch forward into this stretch, we're going to be collapsing into that ankle. So what I want you to do is set up a foot triangle or pyramid with the ball of the big toe, ball of the little toe, and the heel directly behind it. So if you think big toe inside of the heel, usually you've got it. And then I want you to also imagine that my finger is right here on the outside of your foot, and you're gonna pinch my finger with the outside of your foot, okay? What that's gonna do is it's gonna lift the arch and pull that foot into some slight supination so that we are really stretching into this ankle dorsiflexion with the knee tracking straight forward instead of allowing this compensation to happen with the knee inside, right? This is just not going to get us as efficient of a stretch in the bottom of the foot, which is the goal. So right foot is back, left foot is forward. Basic calf stretch. We're going to stretch forward, keeping that back knee straight for now. We will bend it in a minute. We're stretching forward. Try not to press those hips forward here. We want basically a straight line all the way up to the torso. And we're just finding this stretch. Now, once we're here, right, I'm pinching my finger, okay, the big toes inside of the heel. I want you to activate this stretch by trying to lift the ball of the foot. So I'm trying to lift the ball of the foot off the floor, which because I'm far into this position, it's never gonna happen. But just by trying to lift, I'm activating the tissues on the top of the foot and this anterior tibialis muscle right in front of the shin to try to lift up. Then I'm going to come out of the stretch, but I want you to push the toes into the floor as if you're trying to lift the heel. That tension pushing down is going to help you come out of the stretch. But now, instead of the tissues in front and the top, I'm working the tissues underneath the foot all the way through the calf muscle, okay? So we're pulling into that stretch, lifting the ball of the foot, and then you're pushing down into the floor to come out of it, using the posterior side of the leg and the underneath of the foot. So we're pulling up and lifting into that stretch, and then we're pushing down to come out of it. So we're actively pulling into this stretch, lifting up, and then we are actively pushing out of it, push down. And then let's go again. 2 more. Pull into that stretch, push out of it. 1 more, pull into that stretch, lifting, lifting, and push. Now let's do this with a bent back knee. So now the knee is going to try to drive forward as I lift, 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 and then push down. You can keep that back knee bent. You might need to shorten that stance a little bit. We're going to stretch forward into this position, trying to lift up. Really give your weight to the wall or whatever you're stretching towards, and then push down to shift back. And then let's do that 3 more times. Keep the heel down as you shift forward and then try to lift the ball of the foot and then push down to come back. Let's do that 2 more times. Lifting, lifting. Should feel fatigue in the front of that shin and push down. some fatigue in the calf or the underneath of the foot, the arch of the foot, and push down. And then let's switch sides. So now on this side, you're going to be able to see the arch of my left foot. It's going to try to stay lifted as I go through these stretches. Okay, so big toes inside of the heel, pinching my finger on the outside of the foot. Keep the back knee straight for this first one. We're going to stretch into this calf muscle and underneath the foot. Try not to thrust those hips forward. Keep that straight line in the body. Then from here, we're going to try to lift the ball of the foot, feeling the tissues in front of the shin and the top of the foot, and then we're going to push down to come out of it. Then we're going to do that again. Lift up to shift forward, push down to come out of it. Lift up to shift forward, push down to come out of it. 2 more. Lift up to shift forward, pulling into that stretch. Once again, you can do more reps here or spend more time in these stretches. Push down to come back up. Last one. Pull forward into that stretch and push. So now we're going to do a bent knee. Shorten that stance just a little bit. And we're really leaning into that wall as we shift forward, trying to lift the ball of the foot and then push down to come out of it. Again, pulling forward into that stretch. And then push to come out of it. Last 3, pulling, trying to lift up into that stretch. Pushing to come back out. Last 2, lifting up. Notice how I'm not collapsing into that arch as I shift forward. Keeping that pinch on the outside of my foot. Push down to come out of it. One more time. Lifting, lifting, lifting that ball of the foot. And then pushing to come out of it. Okay, so now we can shake it out. We've stretched into our ankles and the feet and the calves a little bit. Let's grab our yoga block. So next we're gonna grab our yoga block and we're going to do some toe extension pails and rails, some toe extension isometrics. So we're gonna take our yoga block and press it into the wall. You could start this way. This is the more progressed version. And we're going to try to place your heel down with your toes up slightly and kind of slide your toes down so that the ball of the foot is on the floor, but the toes are as bent as possible. So we're more focusing on the big toe here, the bending of the big toe. And ideally what you want is a position like this, where the ball of the big toe is down and we have that big toe lifted as much as possible. Okay, same thing here. We're trying to spread out those toes and then we're going to deepen the stretch by driving that knee forward. So I have a deep stretch on the bottom of my foot. We're getting deeper into that plantar fascia in this stretch position. I want you to keep the themes of pinching the outside of the foot and keeping that big toe inside of that heel, okay? We're gonna keep that theme. If you have more time, you're gonna stretch here for a full 2 minutes, but we're gonna get right away into those isometrics for today. So your isometrics are, you're gonna press the toes into the block and the wall as if you're trying to push yourself away from the block. Then the reverse, the rails are, you're going to stay in that stretch, but you're going to try to lift your toes away from that yoga block, right? So we're here, stretching into that foot and ankle. We're going to start our isometrics. You're going to push into that yoga block, trying to dent the block and push yourself away, but you're not going to let yourself fall away. Keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. You might feel some cramping in the underneath of the foot. And then let's reverse that right away. You're going to try to lift those toes away from the yoga block without coming out of that stretch. 3, 2, 1. Then we're going to release the tension, see if we can get a little further into that stretch. And we're going to do that again. Push into the block with those toes. Keep pushing, trying to dent that yoga block. You might feel some cramping in the bottom of the foot and then immediately reverse it. Try to lift up, 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 up away from that block. 3, 2, 1. Then release the tension. Try to get a little further into that stretch. And let's do that one more time. Pushing into the block. Keep breathing. 3, 2, 1. And reverse it, lifting away. 3, 2, 1. Then we're going to release the tension, slowly come out of it, and we'll switch sides. So if you're experiencing a lot of plantar fascia pain, then you probably are going to be using little amounts of tension, and you can increase the time of those isometric contractions. So you can press into the block more for longer and pull away from the block for longer, but just in a smaller range of motion and with a little less tension. So let's go to this left side. So we'll set up that stretch. Once again, big toes inside of the heel, trying to spread out those toes as much as possible. Outside of that foot is pinching down into my finger. And we're stretching forward here into the bottom of that foot. Right? I'm going to get a little further. Okay, so from this position, if you have time, you could stretch for 2 minutes. But for today, we're just going to start those isometrics. We're going to push into that yoga block, feeling the tissues underneath the foot and the back of the leg engage. 3, 2, 1, and then reverse it. Try to lift those toes away from the yoga block without coming out of the stretch. 3, 2, 1, and then release the tension. Try to get a little further into that position. And then we'll do that again. Push into that block. Really trying to find activation in the bottom of the toes. 3, 2, 1, and then reverse that. Try to lift the toes away. Make sure that heel stays down. Make sure we're not collapsing into that arch. 3, 2, 1, and then release that tension. And we'll do that one more time, pushing down into that yoga block. Feeling that activation or maybe cramping underneath the foot. 3, 2, 1, and reverse it, trying to lift up. Good, keep going for 3, 2, 1, release that tension. We'll slowly come on out of it. Okay, so we can do that again, or we can go into the more progressed version, which is what I will show you. We're gonna do both feet at the same time. You can do this on a bench or a chair and kind of stretch into it this way. The easiest way is to do this on a yoga block or 2. You can grab 2 yoga blocks, but you're just gonna place it under the hips with those feet outside of the block. I'm gonna show you from this angle. Okay, we're gonna do our toe extension stretch here. So here you can really see that the bottom of the foot is stretched and taut. That's that plantar fascia here, and those muscles underneath the foot stretching in this position. That's exactly what we're trying to stretch. That's exactly what we're trying to find tension in. So we can do the same isometrics here. Just imagine that the floor is your yoga block. So you're gonna push into the floor, and then you're gonna try to lift up away from the floor. Hopefully you can see the tissues in the bottom of my feet working as I do this. So from here, make sure that the ankles are not falling out or collapsing in, okay? Once again, we're thinking of that big toe the most. So we're aiming for this ball of the big toe to reach towards the floor. It's okay if this part is a little bit off the ground. I'm gonna actually press into my heels a little bit more to find a little more stretch. So from here, we're gonna push down into the floor. Pushing, pushing, pushing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then immediately reverse. Keep the ball of the foot down, try to lift the toes. Keep lifting for 3, 2, 1, release the tension. Try to get further into that stretch, and then let's do that 2 more times. Push down into the floor with those toes. Activating the bottoms of the feet. 3, 2, 1, reverse it, trying to lift those toes up, keeping the ball of the foot down, finding the tissues in the front of the shin, top of those feet. 3, 2, 1, release that tension. And let's go one more time, pushing down. I know those feet and toes are so fatigued, but we're almost done with these, I promise. 3, 2, 1, and reverse, trying to lift up. Finding tension in the front of those feet, top of those shins. 3, 2, 1, release the tension. Oh my gosh, we can slowly come out of it. So like I said, that was the more progressed version. You can keep the wall version if that's where you're at for today. But you could stay in that position or slowly come out of it. Now we're gonna stretch the top of the feet and do some plantar flexion work. So you can stay in that position or get back into it, but now we're basically stretching the front of the shins here. So you can sit all the way down on the heels, or you can keep that yoga block, or you can do this on your bench or chair as well. Just reaching the top of those feet towards the floor, right? Once again, just releasing tension into this stretch. So from here, we're also going to make sure that those heels are not super far outside of the toes. Not that that's wrong, but we are just going to really focus on stretching this mid part of the shin and foot. So from here, we're going to do those isometrics again. So we're going to push down into the floor with the toes, trying to spread those toes out, and then we're going to try to curl the toes. Now, this is the focus of this exercise, curling the toes. We're going to try to get that arch of the foot as activated as possible. So we are going to probably cramp this muscle, or even the toes, muscles in the bottom and the balls of the feet as well. So we might feel some cramping in this. If we do, just kind of shake it out and then get back into it. All right, we're just doing 3 reps here of those isometrics, but like I said before, you can add reps, you can add tension, you can add the amount of time that you spend in each isometric contraction. So from here, we're in this nice deep stretch. If you're on your own, you can try the stretch for 2 minutes, or you can pause me for 2 minutes and then come back to this. So from here, we're gonna push down into the floor. Go ahead and push with the toes like you're trying to flex the foot. So you're trying to bring those toes down into the floor and push that floor away from you. Keep pushing for 3, 2, 1. Now reverse it. Try to drive the front of the foot and ankle into the floor and try to curl those toes off of the floor. Keep curling. Here's where we're cramping. For 3, 2, 1, then release the tension into that stretch. Then we're going to do that again. Push down into the floor. Keep pushing for 3, 2, 1, and reverse it. Curling those toes up, trying to keep the top of that foot and ankle reaching for the floor. Keep curling. Last 3, 2, 1. Release that tension into the stretch. And let's go one more time. Push down into the floor. Keep pushing for 3, 2, 1, and reverse. Curling away from the floor with those toes, driving the tops of the foot and ankle into the floor. 3, 2, 1, and then release that tension, and then very slowly you can come on out of it. Our last 2 movements are going to be combining some of these articulations that we just worked on. So we're going to start with our towel. We're going to combine some toe cars with some towel scrunches. So we're going to stand up and let's do both feet. You can do 1 foot at a time. I'm going to show you both feet at the same time, and we're going to do 2 sets. So you could do 1 set per foot or 2 sets for both feet. So the heels are going to be off the towel, toes are going to be on the towel. The first thing you're going to do is lift just your big toe. So you're going to try to lift just your big toe. Once again, setting up the big toe inside of the heels, and imagine that you're pinching my finger with the outside of your foot. Keep the ball of the big toe down and then bring those toes down. You could do this standing. You could also do this seated, right? So we can lift those toes up and hold. So I'll show you this version. And down. Let's go up again. Hold. Now this, you may need some assistance with the hands here, or just 1 at a time. It's easier standing up to do these motions. This takes a lot of practice. And down. So let's do the opposite. We're going to lift all of the toes, spread them out, and then bring just the big toe down. So now we're trying to keep all the toes up except for that big toe, and then bring it back up. Now, as you bring the big toe down, don't let this happen here. Keep pushing the outside of that ball of the foot into the floor and up. And we'll do that 1 more time. Big toe comes down and up. Now let's try to reach the toes, spread them out into the towel, and scrunch up that towel. So here we go again with that cramping of the foot, okay? If you cramp, come out of it, stomp it out, shake it out, and get back into it. Then we go again, lifting up, spread the toes out, and scrunch. Nice and slow, lifting up. So when you lift the toes up again, just make sure the balls of the feet come back to the floor. Once you spread out and curl, the balls of the feet can come up off the floor just slightly. And lifting up, reach. So the goal is not necessarily to scrunch the towel towards you. It's just to create wrinkles in the towel. So don't get so consumed with the idea of scrunching the towel towards you. Just think of scrunching it underneath you. That's all we need to focus on for today. Scrunch it, and we'll go one more time, spreading out and scrunch. So let's spread out those toes again. You can shake it out if you need to, or switch feet if you were doing one foot at a time. And let's start again with the toe cars. Lift up just the big toe. Bring the big toe down. 2 more. Lift up just the big toe. Make sure the big toe is still inside of the heels and that all the other toes are spread out, and bring it down. And let's do one more time, lifting just the big toe. And spread that big toe out as it comes down. Let's lift all of the toes. Keep that ball of the little toe on the floor as we bring just the big toe down. And then lift the big toe. And we'll go 2 more. Bring just the big toe down. And lift. And we'll do one more time. Bring just the big toe down. And lift. Now we get to do our scrunches. 5 more. Reach the toes. Scrunch. Reset. Reach the toes. Scrunch. Reset, lift, reach the toes, scrunch. Reset, lift the toes, scrunch. Reset, lift the toes, and scrunch. And rest. All right, that was a big cramper. So that might take some time to get used to, but it will get better the more you practice. Last movement is going to be working through some toe extension, some ankle dorsiflexion, and again, stretching of the backs of the legs. I'll show you the regress version first, and then I'll show you the progress version on the ground. So you're going to face your chair or your bench. You're going to kind of sit back into that stretch again. You're going to bring your forearms down to the bench, right? So from here, we're going to reach the heels down to the floor and the hips up into like almost a downward dog. So we're going to go up here into a stretch, bringing the chest down towards the floor. So we will feel some hamstring stretch as well. Then we're going to bring those knees back down and then bring the hips up. So as you bring the hips up, push down into the feet. All right, so go ahead into that kneeling position. We'll sit those hips back into a stretch. Then from here, reach those heels straight down to the floor as soon as possible. And you can keep the knees soft. Then we're going to bring those knees back down, sitting the hips as close to the heels as you can, and then push into the floor with those feet to bring those hips forward. Let's do that 3 more times. Sit the hips back. Reach up. Let's stretch here for a minute. If you would like to progress this, we could stretch 1 foot at a time into plantar flexion. Just tuck the toes under and switch. Stretching out the top of that foot. And then bring those knees down. Push into the ground with those feet to come out of it. Let's do that 2 more times. Stretching back. Reach those heels down as soon as possible. Hold there, or you can tuck the toes under on each side, just moving through the feet. And then bring those knees down. Come on out, and we'll do 1 more. Hips down towards the heels. Hips up, heels down. We can stretch 1 at a time through the feet. And then bring those knees down and shift out of it. Good. Shake it out, take a breath, and then we can do the progress version. Stick with that one if you'd like, or we can do this on hands and knees, right? So from here, you're going to shift back to the heels, just like before. Now you're reaching those heels down, but we're just in a deeper range of motion, a little more weight on those hands. Bring those knees down, sit those hips to the heels, and push into those feet to shift forward. And let's go again, shifting back, reaching the hips up and the heels down, bringing those knees down, keep the hips back towards the heels, and come up. Let's do that 3 more times, shifting back. Now we can hold this one a little longer. You could tuck 1 foot under, stretching into that plantar flexion as well. Bring the knees down, shift out of it, and let's go 2 more, shifting back. Heels down, hips up, stretching one side and to the other. Heels up, hips down, shifting forward. We'll go 1 more time, hips down to the heels. Heels down, hips up, stretching one side and then the other. bringing the knees down with the hips down to the heels and shift out of it. And rest. All right. So that is a full, thorough routine for plantar fasciitis if you are feeling pain or if you are trying to prevent some plantar fascia pain. I hope you learned something in this video. If you have any questions about these movements, drop them in the comments below. And if you found this helpful, please share, like, and subscribe. Thanks so much for joining, and I'll see you next time.